I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
And sometimes books.
Join us every Wednesday for a new episode.
We are live. Live.
And just holding space.
Can you just hold space for a second?
Give me a finger. Or just your finger. That's what she does, doesn't she? Have you seen her? She just holds her
Yeah,
finger.
but I was trying to get it into the camera.
No,
no,
it's
no
not gonna
idea.
get.
No
Okay,
idea.
never mind, okay.
We're sitting too far apart.
I was just looking to see. No, it was episode 40 last week, and we didn't acknowledge it in last week's. Or maybe we did. Did we? No, I don't think we did. It was episode 40 last week.
Wild.
Sam's age in episodes. 40 fucking episodes we've been doing this nonsense for. Oh, we still got nasty eyes, have we?
Yeah, I'm not 40. Oh,
No.
I just kissed my mic. A little bit of lipstick on there
Little
now.
sus, as we say over here.
Give it a little sus.
Episode 40. Can you believe we've been doing this fucking nonsense for 40 episodes? In
It was
theory,
40 years then.
it feels like fucking 40.
You're telling me.
It's actually more than 40 episodes because of our author spotlights and bonus episodes, but like main
Main
channel,
channel.
week on week, we've been doing 40. Does that mean we're doing 40 weeks? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. 40.
No, I
40
can't.
It is, yeah, because
No,
it's
'cause
one a
there's-
week.
Yeah, but there's 52 weeks in a year, so we got 12 left. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose that
because
works
it's till
out.
March of next year.
Okay.
40 weeks of doing this. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
You can't. Well, it feels like it.
No,
does
I'm
it?
joking, I'm only
Wow,
joking.
Someone's woke up on the wrong side of the bed today.
40 weeks of getting to see my best friend once a week.
And now it's 41. For the 41st episode.
This isn't going to be episode 41. Did we
Last week.
release 40 this week?
It's coming out Wednesday. Metal Slinger is 40.
Yeah, so then Rachel... Oh, sorry.
Hi, nice to meet you. Just holding space. So,
Sorry, I got confused then, thinking we were recording a... We're bulk recording.
Yeah, we've been saying this for ages. Because of the holiday season, we are all over the place for recording. But today, we are interviewing the one and only Rachel Schneider.
Yeah.
Which we've been buzzing our fucking tits off for ages about this.
And I just feel like Metal Slinger is just like an internet sensation now. Every time I log into Instagram, TikTok, Threads, somebody new has found Metal Slinger for the first time.
Metal Slinger, but in the best way.
Yeah, I'm not like mad about it.
No,
I'm like, yes, we got another one. Especially when like people are like, oh God, I've bought this book because Pod of Sweat and the Wingspan won't stop talking about it. And I'm like, haha, you're welcome.
We've been tagged in a few posts recently about like you guys like hearing about Metal Slinger because of us, and we just love it because that's all we want to do is just like spread our book joy, you know? What?
I thought I don't know. Sorry, I've just read a sex scene in a book and I thought you were going to say spread your legs.
No.
Wrong.
So yeah, we're just so excited to be talking to Rachel to get the ins as much as we possibly can about book 2, because I know, like, let's be honest, if you've just finished Metal Slinger, that's what you're all here for.
Yeah.
You know? And we've got some good questions about those book 2s, about that book 2. We're going to ask her a lot of questions about the Easter eggs all the way through. Because again, if you've just read Metal Slinger, like, you need to know.
The foreshadowing.
If you know, you know. Did you get Lana tickets?
No.
It was well spenny, wasn't it?
£170 to be up in the eaves.
The thing is, though, I think people who love Lana, don't they?
Yeah, true. I like it.
But not
no.
I'll have to pay that kind of money, yeah.
Oh.
What are you reading?
I am currently reading The Christmas Tree Farm.
I got the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore as my book in my She Made It book box today.
I'm very jealous, even though I've already got it.
Just jealous.
I just like being jealous of you.
Is yours shiny?
Don't know.
Mine's shiny.
Are you going to read it?
Probably not.
Can I have it?
Yeah. Have you not got it?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, well then no.
Well, if it's nicer than mine, can we swap?
I'll swap you for the Scarlet St. Clip then no.
No, just if you're not going to read it, can you just have my boring old one and I have your nice one?
Have you cracked your spine?
No, of course not.
Consider
I haven't read it. I read it on Kindle.
Oh, okay, I'll consider it.
Thanks, ma'am.
Have a look to see if yours is shiny.
Yeah, you'll have to show me what you mean.
Okay. But you're reading The Christmas Tree Farm?
Yes, I'm going to finish it today. I started it today and I've read 225 pages.
Is it spicy?
Yeah.
Does somebody get, I was trying to think of a Christmas tree pun, but I can't really. Someone get their baubles hung?
What?
I don't know.
What then? Balls nailed somewhere.
That's what they're into.
No, but the last chapter I just read before you arrived was a spicy chapter, and the spice was spicing.
Ooh.
She compares him to Clark Kent, but in he wants to fix everything and help everyone. Like he's too nice, and then he just fucking destroys her.
Oh God.
And I was like,
Blushing.
his name's Bennett.
Ooh. Do you know what I find? A name really makes or breaks it, doesn't it?
I don't know. There's something about Bennett.
I don't mind Bennett.
Yeah, and obviously everyone shortens it to Ben, but Bennett, when they call him Bennett, I'm like, huh?
Ooh.
Whoa.
I am currently reading the third book in the Legacy series by Melissa Rowerick.
Yes.
I'm about 39-40% of the way through.
Nice.
It's fucking wild, that series. It's dark, but it's good.
I need to read it.
Honestly, it's not what I expected. When I first started it, I was like, is this the first time a Caitlin's Romantasy recommendation? Because you know how highly we talk about those. Is it the first time one of those has gone awry? But no. But I just, in the beginning, I was like, ooh. So I'm currently reading that, and I'm currently audiobooking the second book in the Song of the Marked series, but I can't remember what it's called. The Twisted Blade, Twisted something.
Yeah.
It's fun, but I wouldn't say it's but I saw the author's interview or a video they posted the other day about the series, and apparently book 3 and book 4, the spice level goes
ooh, we love spice.
So there's been spice. I felt like it's been a normal amount of spice, but she seems to think it gets spicier. So I'm holding out. I think I'm going to keep audiobooking them though, because I find reading them, I don't know, I'm when you can't keep going with it, I find I get easily distracted with it, whereas when I'm audiobooking, I'm a bit more focused. And that's me as of right now.
I read a book start to finish yesterday.
You're on one at the moment. What was it? Go on.
What did Steve say to me earlier? He said, at what point does reading become an addiction, because nobody should be finishing more than one book in a day? Because yesterday I finished The Twisted Throne.
The audiobook.
Yeah.
Which I told you would be fucking class.
Yeah, I finished that, and then I started and finished a novella.
Oh, okay.
It's only 125 pages.
I know.
Well, I did say you might have to cut this out, but I was like, well, at least I'm not addicted to crack cocaine. And he was like, all right.
I don't think we need to cut that out.
Yeah, take your book addiction and shut up.
I say this to my husband and actually my mother all the time, who comment on the amount of books I buy, and I'm like, yeah, but would you rather it be like crack cocaine?
Oh, I have a delivery coming this evening.
Do you? This evening?
It's from Amazon, so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think it was scheduled between 2 and 7, and it hadn't come before you came, so it must be.
What are you having?
I ordered the new cover of Spark of the Everflame.
The new cover?
Yeah, she's re-released them on Amazon.
I didn't think the covers changed though.
It's only slightly.
Oh, okay.
There's still silhouettes of DM, but
the trad published version.
Yeah, because
the first one or all 3?
No, just the first one. Because I was buying stuff on Amazon, as you do, and lately, have you noticed loads of things seem to be in this? If you buy 4, you get 5% off.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I've got 3 things in my basket that qualify for this deal. May as well get a 4th.
Okay.
And I was just scrolling through, and then I was like, oh, actually, let me see if any of my books on my wish list are included, and they were. So I went through trying to decide which one I wanted, and I landed on Spark.
Lovely.
I will get them all because only that one's out yet so far.
Oh, I thought all 3 of them were out.
No. So yeah, we're about to sit down and talk with Rachel.
Yeah.
Hopefully you stick around and hopefully you enjoy it.
I feel like a lot of people have been looking forward for this one.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
comments and messages about this, and we're very excited. Rachel we just love her.
She's such a babe.
And we just really hope we've done this interview justice, and we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, see you on the other side.
Yeah.
Rachel Schneider, and I'm the author of Metal Slinger, the first in the Fire and Metal series.
And we are... Oh, Go on, you start. I knew we were going to be
You're
like
going to
this.
get used to this, Rachel, because
we
we'll just shout over each other the whole time.
Sam edited this week's the full Metal Slinger deep dive episode, and she messaged me, was it like this week? And you were like, the amount I had to edit out because we're both just like, because there was just so much to say. Like,
I like made a point of like what I think might be happening, and B just said, shut up! And then we both just sat there in silence, and I'm like,
I can't wait to hear it.
oh, it's a bit chaotic, I'll be honest. Firstly, we are so excited to have you, Rachel. Like, since the moment both of us finished this book, all we've done is talk about it. This is our new Roman Empire. Like, once a day, I'll be like, did you ever think about this in Metal Slinger?
I am so honored to be here. So I'm glad that y'all are excited because I am so stoked.
Yeah, it was a ride reading that book. And I suppose to address the elephant in the room, did you expect this to blow up the way that it did and have the reaction that it did? Because I feel like every time I go on TikTok or Instagram, somebody is posting about it. Somebody's like putting out a theory about it. So did you expect the response that you had?
Well, I do want to add real quick. I did publish almost 10 years ago. So technically, this is not my debut novel. I pulled them, though, all those years ago. Now, when I published Metal Slinger, I published it in May for $1 for my friends and family to read. And then anyone on my contact list, I was like, hey, if y'all want a book, I'll sell it to you at cost. I did not plan on making any money or for it to go anywhere. It was a passion project. So it kind of feels very fever dreamish. That's the only way I can describe it, is that it feels like it's not real. Like, it still doesn't feel real. It doesn't. Every day that I get on, it doesn't feel real.
I think like for us, when we started seeing like people talking about it, you know, obviously like there was people within like the people that we follow, like Caitlin and stuff, that were recommending it, and we were like, okay, this is on the TBR. And I feel like in the last like few weeks, months, it's just gone like literally, I feel like I open Instagram and I'm like, oh my gosh, Metal Slinger again. Like, and I love it. I absolutely love it, because I remember Sam read it before I did. Sam finished it, obviously, because she did it for the author spotlight. And then when I was reading it, like my brain literally, I couldn't comprehend, like, honestly, just how fantastic that book is. Like, I literally was just like, where has this book been all my life, basically? Like where has it been? Where's it been since May? Like, why didn't I read this back in May? And I guess, like, what's that been like for you? Like you said, for it did you feel like when it came out in May, that's when it was like peaking? Or do you feel like as the years gone on, it's kind of been like a slow progression of popularity?
I didn't market it at all. I didn't set a release date. I didn't send out ARCs. I didn't hire a marketing team. I literally just said, oh, today's my daughter's birthday. This sounds like a really great day to release this into the world. Mm-hmm. So that's its published date. I cannot describe to y'all just how little I did not plan for this. There's no better marketing than word of mouth. So one person picks it up and shares it, and then another. And I followed, it's like going down the rabbit hole, almost like. Mm-hmm. And so it did that for like months, where I was like, oh, another person read it, and being really stoked about the next person read it. Oh my gosh, the next person. And then when Emmy picked it up in September, she is, her handle is like What Emmy Reads. And she shared it to everyone. And then from that point on, it was like I couldn't keep up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, like you said, this isn't your debut in the sense that like you've published previously, but am I right in saying that like this is your first ever like fantasy or fantasy romance release? Because am I right in saying that your first releases were just romance? Or
yeah, that's right. My first releases would have been considered like suspense romance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Suspense. I'm not sure which way that goes. I always write for the plot, romance with the plot. But this is my first fantasy romance, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so have you been like a reader of fantasy romance before deciding to go with this as like a genre, or did you just feel like when you were plotting this story in your head, that's the genre that it kind of fit into?
Well, I think like most people, I read ACOTAR.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time that like my brain opened up and I was like, I could write what like just anything that really inspired. But as far as reading fantasy romance, I don't actually read a lot of it. It gives me imposter syndrome. So I tend to
I think that was very much the same for me. Like I read ACOTAR, I started to read a bit more in the genre, seeing people, you know, like yourself and also people like Carissa Broadbent, and at the time who was like completely traditional, like indie published, and literally like I don't need anybody to sort of like validate my story. I can just like put it out there and people can buy it. And then it was literally like something in my brain just, I don't know, readjusted. But I'm very much the same as you. I feel like the more I read, the more it makes me like more anxious to write. I feel like I probably wrote the most I did when I'd read very little of romantasy, and the more I go into it, the more I'm like, oh, but what if? You know, that's the difficulty, isn't it?
mm-hmm, for sure.
So you just said about the plot, Rachel, and I suppose the plot in this book takes us all on a wild ride. And obviously that was your intention, to drop in these plot twists and send us all spiraling for weeks after finishing it. But can you talk us through some of that writing process? Like, where did the idea for Metal Slinger come from?
Really? So this is like spoilers out, everything?
Yes, we are full spoilers, yes.
Okay. So I wanted to write a book where the FMC got the fun part of the story. I wanted her to be the one to betray, to have the secrets and be devious. And so I really wrote Metal Slinger with it was gonna be a standalone, and Jovi's betrayal was gonna be somewhere about 3/4 of the way through. And so I wrote all the way, probably half of what Metal Slinger is now, when I was like, no. I have way more to this story after the fact. So then I knew that I would have to split it to 2 books. But I wrote Metal Slinger essentially with the ending in mind.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting. Is it planned just to be 2 books? Do you think it could stretch over to a trilogy? Are you planning any novellas for any side characters? Are you allowed to tell us?
I do have an idea going forward. I cannot spoil anything. I have a really bad habit of spoiling my own books. I've done it so often. So I'm stopping my brain from getting to where I want to go next. But for Bryn/Jovi, in my mind, I call her Jovi. For her story arc, it'll be done in 2 books.
Interesting. I'm glad that at least we only have to wait for 1 more book to wrap it up.
For her, we'll see her maybe going forward, but for hers, yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah. And do you, without trying to like pry too much, but does that mean that maybe that could mean that there could be more books, but not necessarily from Bryn or Jovi's POV?
Yes.
Because when we spoke this week, B is gunning for like a Bo and Hallis, or a Bo and somebody.
Or Messa,
side.
yes.
Yeah.
I need it. I need it in my life.
What I have in my brain, I cannot talk about. Because I don't want to give away book 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
That's okay. We'll take any crumb. Like the fact that we know that we're not done after book 2, that's all we need.
Yay.
It's hard because I pretty much write for a good twist.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to not give that away means I can it's almost, when you see people yourselves have done it, where you try to recommend Metal Slinger, but you're like, what can I say? That's how I feel about my own books. Like, I don't, what can I say? I don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so do you think that, after book 2 is done, do you think you'll straight away stay within this world, or do you think you'll maybe dip into something new, like a new story, and come back? Like, have you got other series, other stories that are kind of like brewing in your brain?
I do have like a romantic suspense and a contemporary romance like on the back burner, but I believe for now, like I will follow my creativity, like wherever I feel like what fulfills me. For right now, that's this series. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say for sure it's 100% going to be book 3, but I don't want to say that it's not either. That's where I'm going.
That's so exciting.
I know,
like,
that makes
we're
me
just
so happy.
Yes.
Without obviously giving any spoilers, I don't want to keep prying, but can you describe book 2 in 3 words?
So, action, tension, devious.
So we said this in our Metal Slinger episode. I think I can't remember who it was that said it, because at one point I think we just merged into one being of just screaming at each other during that recording, because that's all it became after like an hour. But this is what I said, is that like, I said to Sam, surely after like the absolute like plot twist of all plot twists that we get in book 1, or the end of book 1, like there can't be more, right? I said to Sam, like, surely there can't be more. And then I was like, do you know what though? There's a part of me that like, I feel like Rachel's going to do it to us again. Like you said, you really are driving by the plot, and that's your like what you're here to achieve is to like have that emotion and have that flip of narrative. So I said in that, one of us said in that episode, like, what if it happens again? And now that makes me scared that it's going to happen again.
It's hard for me to look at my books objectively, but I'm trying to think of how I can phrase this. So the plot twist at the end of Metal Slinger took everyone by surprise. I partially believe because it's the first book anyone's read by me. So I think going into book 2, people are going to be like, okay, being more critical, where in the first book, they skimmed over, a lot of people skimmed over, they missed the clues, the foreshadowing. It's very subtle, very subtle. And I think in book 2, people are going to be over-analyzing everything. So I don't know if it'll hit the same in book 2. I don't know. Am I spoiling too much? I feel like I'm spoiling too much.
I don't think that's spoiling.
No.
So I think that people are going to go into book 2 just being more critical. So
of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, I said when we recorded this week, I feel like I need to reread Metal Slinger, but like with almost like a detective's board, you know, where they have like pieces of string going from different people. I said I need one of them, and I need to plot out where everything comes from.
I've seen, my husband found like a thread on Reddit, and he sent it to me, and we were going through, I mean, it was like a deep dive of like people quoting chapters and sentences, and I would love to give like the readers a place to discuss that, but I just haven't figured out how to do that yet.
We said, like Sam just said, that I feel like we always say that we're not the sharpest crayons, right? We are not, like, we're not sharp as crayons, but stuff goes way over our heads. So there was no hope in this book for us. Like, not that many, I don't think I've ever seen anybody catch on to the plot twist, but it was never going to be us two, right? Like, there's not a brain cell between us. But I did say to Sam, like, that's the thing, I want to read, and I have every intention to reread it before book 2 comes out, but like, I just can't wait to read it with knowing what I'm looking for now, because I feel like you said, I think when we last spoke, that there are those Easter eggs in there, you just wouldn't pick them up because you're not looking for them.
I mean, to be fair, I'm the same way when I read. When I read, I want to turn my author brain off, so I'm just there for the vibes. And there's, like in Sarah J. Maas's ACOTAR, whenever it's the riddle, and I was like, she'll tell me eventually. Like, I'm not here to use my brain right now. And everybody was like, I figured it out immediately. I was like, how? I don't know.
We say this all the time. I never figured it out. Like, I didn't know. So do you think that, are there any, I don't know, again, because this is a spoiler podcast, so anybody that's listening to this has read Metal Slinger, are there any off the top of your head that you can think of right now, like little Easter eggs that we didn't pick up on in certain chapters or certain sections?
I think it's a little different for everybody, but for instance, whenever they almost got to Kenta and they come across General Samasu, Jovi in her mind is talking about how much he resembles Ren, who is the captain of the Alaha. And I felt like no one picked that up. Like how she recognized that. Certain lines when they're on the boat of whenever she's describing her feelings for him or what she was expecting of him, and this is not it. And it's all, if you go back and reread it, it's in the context of who she already knew he was, which was the Prince of Kenta. I was recently talking to my best friend about this because she's reread the book like 3 times. She was my find the plot holes. Like if there's plot, find them. She recently was like, so I just reread it again. When they're at the market, I realized that she was playing with him whenever she's walking through the market. And she is talking about knowing he's following her. From the get-go, she knew who he was. I don't know how much that spoils for, yeah.
So we argued about this on Monday because I said when Akka tells her that she's Jovi and he reminds her of Hallis and then playing together as children, I said to B, well, do you think that she already knew and she already remembered Hallis and she knew who she was and that they knew each other when they were children? And B was like, no, she didn't know, no. And I was like, she could have.
Well, hold on. So how much of what she knew of her childhood is separate from what she's been told? So she could possibly know who Acker is, but not necessarily what he meant to her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Interesting.
And I feel like for me, like there was 2 maybe sections where I thought there was, when I say like something going on, by no means did I have any inkling that what was going to happen happened. But the only couple of bits I picked up, there's a particular scene where I pretty much towards the end where Bo says something to her like, you know, you're going to break his heart or something of that fashion. And I remember reading it and being like, oh, that's a bit weird for her to say right now. Like, why would she say that? So that was my only, and then the only other section, which I think is when she's like in the library researching, she's going through like the royal bloodline, and there's a mention, I think, of like Akka's dad in it, and she references that the magic that he has was like not correct. Like in the book it says one thing, but then she was told another, and she says it, and Bo's mum is like, oh, it must just be a mistake. And I was like, that was the only time that I was like, that's a bit suspicious. But it didn't, by no means was I thinking to the size of the, I don't want to say betrayal, because I personally don't think it's a betrayal, controversially. I don't think she's necessarily betrayed him, but Jovi or Bryn's narrative being different to what you're reading on the page. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I almost took out that line where Bo tells her that not only is his heart the only one, because I felt like it was too obvious. I had taken it out and added it back in like 3 times. So yeah, that's, people pick up on that one the most, because that feels the most obvious for sure.
And have you ever had anyone, like a reader, after they finish contact you, or anyone that you've spoken to that was able to pick up on it? Like, did anyone guess before it happened that you've spoken to?
Not that I've spoken to personally. I have seen reviews where people say that they caught on to it, which maybe they did. They there's a lot of just so subtle the way that, and something I have seen in reviews is that people don't understand Jovi's reaction or lack of reaction. And so a lot of times that clues people in to her maybe having a secret. So people can catch on. Again, I don't think I would have, like, if I was reading someone else's book, I'm strictly there for the vibes.
Because Sam prides herself on, like, we're very different readers. So like, I'm very much a vibes person. Like, I would say I'm more probably like a character. Not to say I don't love like a twisty plot, because I do, but I'm more of like a character driven story usually. But Sam prides herself on being like the mastermind behind her plot, and she will read one chapter and she has like a full prediction, don't you?
Yes. And I look like a fool every time. I was like, I finished it and I was like, well, Rachel's made me look really silly. Thanks for that.
What did you think how it was gonna end?
I don't even know. I think I didn't have predictions in how it was going to end. However, I also didn't predict how it was going to end. Like, if somebody had said, I'll pay you to guess the ending of this book, never would I thought that it would be her betraying Akka. I just, and you know, knowing about Kai's magic and having that in the back pocket for the whole story she already knew, when that came out, I was like, what? I'm going back to the beginning to like reread her bits with Kai, because I was like, where has this come from? And like, even then, like rethinking when she's leaving with Akka and she asks him not to kill Kai, and like all of that sort of starts to slot into place. I was thinking, oh, it's just because they're really good friends and she's lived with him all this time and that's why she doesn't want him to die. And then when you read that like flashback chapter, you're like, well, now I don't know what to think and I don't know what to believe. I don't know if you had predictions, B.
I think I maybe in the back of my mind had a little thing about maybe Messer having a bit of a slight like ulterior motive, because obviously once he like presents himself as being, you know, the bird slash, you know, shapeshifter, I guess, but then his motive, the way he makes it out, is like, I'm just here for Bryn, like I'm here to look after Bryn. There was something in the back of my mind that was a bit like, maybe at the end like he might not be as genuine as he's making out. But I remember reading the penultimate chapter. I read the first page, and I was literally sat here and I locked my Kindle and I text Sam like, please tell me I'm not about to read what I'm about to read, because I knew as soon as I read that first chapter, like that first page of the penultimate chapter, I was like, I know, like didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but obviously everything started clicking in my brain, and I was like, no. And I text Sam like, please tell me, I don't think I can finish this, because I was just so like. And I did finish it, and then I text Sam like, I'm gonna have to go sit in a quiet room for about 20 minutes and just like mull this over. But no, never in a million years. Like that's what I loved about it. Like, I love to be taken on a ride like that with a book.
I like it as long as I can immediately start on book 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now we're all sitting, stewing, rethinking everything.
I realize that makes me a hypocrite. I'm aware.
No, we love it. Take your time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So do you, that kind of brings us on, like, do you have, we know right now that you are, if I'm right in saying, officially technically writing book 2, if we're right in saying. So is your, like, it's a very big goalpost, but is your goalpost right now 2025 for release of book 2, or do you think it could spill over into 26?
My ultimate goal is to have it out in 2025. There's a lot of logistics to publishing that makes it difficult. This one might be like, for Metal Slinger, I didn't do any marketing or any of the such, so trying to map that out with book 2 makes it more difficult. My goal though is 2025. That's where I don't want to make the readers wait any longer than that. I would be so very disappointed if it didn't come out in 2025. So that's my goal.
And our episode that came out this week was our most anticipated releases for 2025. And obviously book 2 was on, Metal Slinger book 2 was on our list. But we did say, like, if it takes longer, Rachel, it takes longer, and we will sit patiently and wait for it. But
I have a tentative date that I don't want to tell anyone in case it moves.
Yeah, of course.
It's locked in. Everyone will know.
And so do you think with the release of book 2 that you're going to do it like you did a little differently to book 1? Where do you think you will do the, you know, maybe arc? Do you think you'll do the like sort of build up to release, or do you think you'll still do it like Metal Slinger where you just like put it out there?
No, I'll do a build up. I just want it to be smoother for the readers.
That's so exciting.
One thing we spoke about on Monday, B, that I said, Rachel, that this for me was like the biggest revelation in the book for me, was that it was Akka's mum living next door to Bryn in Alaha. And I was like screaming at this point. Like I could not believe what was going on. and obviously, again, I don't want you to spoil anything, but will we get more of that and how that plays in?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Because I'm so intrigued by that plot point. That plot point just sent me reeling for hours after I'd read it.
I mean, you feel like that she plays a role. I'm assuming that you feel like she plays a role in how Jovi got there.
Potentially, or even just sort of. Obviously, B didn't think that.
No.
And almost sort of like keeping an eye and, making sure she remains alive and that like nobody's doing anything to her that they shouldn't be, because she almost comes across as like the nosy neighbor. So in my mind, I'm like, was she planted there just like, right, you keep an eye on this girl now and make sure like nobody's doing anything to her, that she doesn't die. Like we need her alive, so you just be placed here as like our eyes and ears.
See, I haven't heard that theory. The only theory I have heard is that she played a part in getting Jovi to Alaha. So I haven't heard that. No one's brought, at least not a lot of people bring things to my attention. These are things that I usually see in passing. But that's an interesting take.
Yeah, I mean, it could be completely wrong, and I'll read book 2 and I'll be like, oh, I look like a fool again.
I don't think it's not a bad assessment. I'm sorry, I can't say anything. It's so difficult.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, no, and we wouldn't want to be the reason that you spoil anything, so I'll try not to pry too much.
And obviously the way we do it on this podcast is we tend to do like the book or books prior to speaking to the author. But it is actually a really good job that we had last week's episode to get it out of our systems, because I feel like we were just like literally like 2 bottles of Coke ready to pop, because we were literally just had so many like chaotic thoughts are coming out of our brain. I feel like we got it out last week, which I'd like to think we seem a bit more coherent tonight. But yes,
we did have a lot of arguments though. We argued a lot over this book. Well, because I don't think Aka is going to be the love interest in book 2. I think Kai is going to be the love interest in book 2. B thinks that is the worst assessment ever, and B thinks it's 100% Aka.
I'm not saying it's a bad assessment. Like, I'm not saying like nobody's not deserving to be the love. I'm such a like. When I say I was down deep for Tamlin in book 1 of Akatar, like I'm such a like hopeless romantic when it comes to books, not in real life. Like I don't really like many people. I don't really like being touched. Like I'm like, ugh. Me and Sam have been friends for like 7 years, and how many times have we hugged? Maybe like twice in our whole entire
on your wedding day when
the
you
birth
gave
of my
birth.
child. Yeah, and that was about it. Like special occasions, that's it. Like she'll get one for her wedding in 2 years, and then we're done. Like that's our hugs.
Maybe
but
drinks are involved.
And alcohol tends to help as well. But I don't know, like for me, I'm just, it has to be Aka, like it has to be. But Sam was like, I don't think it is. And I'm like, no, my brain can't, my brain can't. I do believe that although she obviously was being deceptive for her own reasons, I think that falling in love with Aka was not a part of the plan. But I do think that plotline, that was genuine, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it was a part of the big plan and the big deceit, but I think it was genuine. I don't think she's been playing him. I don't know.
No, for sure. Every one of Jovi's thoughts are her thoughts are authentic. She definitely fell in love with Acker. That's a given. I don't think that you can, but I guess I don't ever want to compare to Sarah J. Maas. I am not Sarah J. Maas. But since you had brought up Tamlin, when you read the book 1 of Akatar series, you fell in love with Tamlin, and I do believe Feyre fell in love with Tamlin. So, that's all I'm going to say to that.
It didn't even cross my mind, Rachel, right? And then Sam said it last week, and it was towards the end, and I was like, I can't listen to this. I was like, I can't. I was like, it's too much. I was like, I'm quite
cynical as well, so I'm always like second guessing and like trying to pick things apart. So for me, what I said to B was, when she has her sexual encounter with Aka, and it's sort of portrayed as her first sexual encounter, I said to people, what if it wasn't? What if this is, more deceit, and that, she actually is involved with Kai, and has been involved with Kai in the past, and B can't even let that enter her mind. She's like, no, she was not lying about that. But I'm like, well, maybe.
No, I'll tell you right now that she wasn't lying about that.
Oh, that makes
Thank
you
you,
so
Rachel.
happy, B, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Rachel.
I think that there's, I would have to read it myself to be 100%, but there's thoughts in Jovi's mind that would reveal that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I just second guessed everything in this book. Like, look, when I finished it, when I was looking back, I was like, this could be a lie, this could be a lie, this could be a lie.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question everything. Like, what was real, what wasn't real. And that's a big reason why I've only referred to the MMC in book 2, because it leaves the end of book 1 ambiguous. And I like that. I want, and maybe that makes me a sadist. I want people to not know until book 2.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to book 2 now, and of like opening pages, like the sky was blue, I'm gonna be like, no, it's not. That's a lie. That's
Wrong.
Rachel's lying to me. Sky was. I'm gonna say no. Sky was not blue.
That's why I assume people are gonna be going into book 2 like I don't trust anything at this point.
Mm-mm.
I think that just speaks to how well written this book is, and how well you've captured us all, because all of us now are like rethinking everything we've read, re-going over everything we've read, because none of us were expecting that plot twist, and you caught us all. We're all just like spiraling and going back. So I think it just, says how well you've written this book, and how good a writer you are. And yeah, we are just all so grateful to have this book in our hands.
Thank you. That means so much. I don't think I'm a particularly fantastic writer. I think I've said this before, but I think I have the potential to write a good story. Whether it's a testament to my writing or just the chaos of my mind, I don't know. But so I really appreciate that. Years ago when I had published and I had pulled my books, I wasn't confident in my writing. And I kind of felt like I was being hoodwinked. Like if someone told me that they loved it, I'd be like, did you love it or did you just love me? Like you don't know. So if Metal Slinger has given me anything, it's just like, well, not this many people can be lying to me, I think. So that would be like the biggest, like the world just doesn't always work that way, We
say this all the time, like, because we're both new to getting back, and not so much back into reading for me, but for Sam getting into like fantasy romance and getting into this whole world. And like when we started this podcast, like we always used to say, like, we have no qualifications to sit here and like all we're giving you is our like opinion. We have no qualifications to tell you if this is a well-written book or not. Like, but for us, we're readers and we're talking about books because it's entertainment, it's how we consume it. And we always say like, I don't care if there's a run-on sentence. I don't care if somebody used a comma where they're not supposed to use like, I'm here for like the entertainment value. Like when we say this all the time, when we watch TV, we're not going, ooh, like that camera angle, like, ooh, not quite right, It's about like the experience. So, and we both said this, like this book is the definition of like what we want and what we like absolutely love about this genre. We've both said like it is the read of the year for us. Like there's no questions asked, no hesitation. We're gonna, is it next week is our 2024 wrap up, Sam?
It comes out on the 1st of January, but we're recording it next week. We're doing like a wrap up of the year and sort of like doing a little ranking system for what we think is the best book that we've personally read this year. And lo and behold, for both of us, Metal Slinger took the top spot.
We were in the car on Friday because we went to London on Friday to the Callie Hart signing, and we were driving home and we were talking about it, like, oh, what would be in your top 5? And we both were like, oh, we don't need to talk about it because it's the same. We were like, we just know it's that. And I was like, it's Metal Slinger. Yeah, she was like, yeah, of course it's Metal Slinger. It's like,
yeah, we don't even need to discuss number 1 because we know what it is.
I'm a crier, so y'all are gonna have to stop.
That is genuine, and not just because we're sitting here talking to you, Rachel. No. When you hear the episode come out, you'll hear that genuinely it was read of the year for both of us.
Oh, thank y'all so much.
And am I right in saying like you are still like you still have a day job, right? Like this is still your, when I say passion project, do you know what I mean? Like this is not your sole 9 to 5.
a full-blown second job. This is my full-time second job. So, but yes, I still have a day job.
So can you tell us what that's like then, having to write alongside doing a full-time job? Like, where do you find the time? Like, you're working on book 2 now, so like how does that work for you? What does your day look like?
And I think, sorry, just to butt in before you start, I feel like I want to hear more for Sam, because if this girl nags me one more time about me not writing enough, I'm like, listen to Rachel. Rachel can tell you. And it's not easy.
It's not. I typically average about 1,000 words a day. I mean, I work a normal 9 to 5, but it's from 7 to 4. And I'm a mom. So by the time I do my job, come home, do dinner, do homework, chores, laundry, all those things, I try my hardest to be in my office or in my bed by 7 o'clock. And then I write until my brain stops. And then on the weekends are easier because I can get up and do everything and get started. And then I can start writing fairly early, take a break midday, write for more of the day, depending on, like, someone has a birthday party or, whatnot. So I just write as much as I can in my downtime. And I was telling someone recently that there gets a point where the story, when I was listening to Kate's interview, I related to her hard on this. There comes a point in the story where it's put downable, almost like when you wake up and immediately you want to read. There gets a point where that's all you want to do is write. And when you hit that point, it's like all consuming. So if anything, my everyday life gets in the way of my writing, and that's very frustrating. But yeah, roughly 1,000 words a day.
I can relate to it. I feel like because I get a lot of like this, like I want to read, and you're like,
yeah, because I'm your best friend and you won't even let me read like a chapter, so that's why I'm on your case.
For a very long time, I would not let my best friend read either.
Rachel, shh. Don't tell her that.
You just have to do it. B was telling me when we were talking about it before, you were saying, like, you see all these authors that talk about writing like 10,000 words a day and being like, well, I can't seem to do that. I can't do that. So like, you have to like let all those things go and let your best friend read it.
Well, she's had a few. She's had a few quotes as of recent. Like, she's had a few little tidbits, but yeah, it is hard. Like you were saying about it before, like the imposter syndrome, isn't it? Like it's that like fear, because I think like when, I don't know, and maybe it's different or maybe the same for everyone who creates a form of art, but like you're literally bearing your soul. Like you literally feel like you're bearing your soul on a piece of paper. So to give it to somebody and be like, here, and like you said, you don't want people to feel like they have to like it because they like you, and so it's actually probably less nerve-wracking for a stranger to read it than somebody that's close to you. Like I've entered a few competitions over the last 2 years, a few writing competitions, a few things like that, and sending pieces off to that, although it is still nerve-wracking, it isn't as difficult because they're just some stranger that I'm never going to see again. Like if you didn't like it, you didn't like it, no problem. But when it's somebody that's so close to you, you're like, ugh. Yeah.
Yes, that's a T. Like you're when you put so much energy and love into something that you want to be perfect and to give it to someone is scary. And, I would tell my mom and my best friends and anyone that no pressure. If you hate it, because also there was like, I kind of at one point was like, someone put me out of my misery. Someone tell me I'm a terrible writer and I'll stop. But no one close enough to me did that early on. And maybe I am grateful for that, because then I would have never been here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of bad reviews out there. And if maybe I would have seen one of those bad reviews early on, it would have, when I was more insecure in my writing and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, I'm still insecure in it, but it would have hindered me from moving forward. So let Sam tell you it's awesome.
I don't like you that much. It wouldn't be because I like you. It would
I'm
be
your
about the
bridesmaid,
work.
Sam. Like, I'm going to be your bride. Like, no, I won't take that.
I'm joking.
I've listened to y'all enough to know that Sam would be honest with you. I think that you need to trust her.
Do you know what,
I'm
Rachel?
sorry.
That's
Marriage counseling now. I'm so sorry.
yeah, no. But that is actually, do you know what? That is actually probably more of a reason why I'm scared to give it to Sam, because I actually do think she would be really honest. But it's good feedback, right? Isn't it? Like, you just don't want somebody, we say, I don't know if it's a term in the US, but like to blow hot air up your skirt. Like, you don't want somebody to just like tell you like, yeah, it's great and amazing, because that's not why I'm giving it to you. Like, I need you, like you said about your best friend reading it, like, I need you to find those plot holes. I need you to like pick it apart within an inch of its life so it can be the best version of what it is.
And B, I truly feel like you've read enough to know how to write something. Just do it.
Yeah, I've actually booked 2 weeks off of work in January. I'm locking myself away. It's my writing retreat, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying here and doing it. And I'm all guns down, like all heads down for it to be released next year. That is my hope.
That's so exciting, though.
Yeah, I mean, when you say it, you can't go back. You're like, I've said it a few times now, and I'm like, I can't unsay it.
That's like my life.
Could you, if you had to recommend another, like either fantasy, romantasy, or fantasy romance book to our listeners outside of your own work, what would that be?
Okay, so before, like in 2015, they used to have this convention called RT Convention for romance. And I met Juliet Cross there.
Mm-hmm. This
is the book that I bought from her. I just seen it in passing, like her table. I'd never had read her before, and I had picked up this book. This is like an original cover, so it's no longer, I don't even know if before I recommend this, I don't even know if she has it up anymore. But it's The Forged in Fire. It's a trilogy. And the Vessel trilogy, it is so good. It's more of a, I guess closer to like a Crescent City.
Ooh, okay.
Or a touch of golden, because it's like almost like fantasy within modern day world. And it is so good. This series I love this series.
Ooh, okay.
It is still available, sorry.
Thank you, Sam.
So Juliet Cross, Forged in Fire, An Angel and Demon's Romance. It is on KU. And the new cover, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it looks very interesting.
That's considered fantasy? Angels and demons and
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. We love it. Thank you. That is going.
Just added it to my library.
Yeah, I was going to say straight on the TBR.
Sorry, I know B said that was a wrap-up question, and this isn't technically a question, but this is just a little admission from me. My partner, Steve, is a whiskey drinker. He's always been a whiskey drinker, and my mum bought him a really nice, like, cut crystal, like, whiskey glass, like a little big whiskey glass, and I now cannot look at him drinking whiskey, because you, Rachel, you know why.
No, I can't look at him drinking whiskey. I don't think I can make eye contact the next time I see him, Sam. Why? Like,
B's face through that entire thing.
I was like, where is she going with this? Like, I was like, Sam, because she didn't tell me about this. So I'm like, where is she going with this?
So when I was writing that scene, I needed to know if it was possible. So I had to get my husband to like help me reenact it. Like, how would this go? Like, to just do logistics, okay? And ever since then, he's like, so do I need to bring the glassware to the bedroom with us? Like, what? Like, he doesn't understand. He's like, why are you so weird?
No,
love
I
it.
loved it. Like, when B was reading it, she was texting me and she's like, am I actually reading this correctly? Like, is this what is happening right now? I was like, yeah, keep going, keep going.
And like whenever people like we post about your book, or whenever people comment, obviously, because generally everybody, I feel like unanimously has this agreement of like, we're desperately trying to not spoil it for anyone else in the comments. The amount of our followers that comment the little like glass emoji to us, just like that's it, and everyone's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah,
We know.
got you.
I seen a comment today, a girl like 3 different times, she was like, what does this mean? And someone had commented back and was like, you have to read the book, them's the rules.
You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you know, you'll never not know again.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. We honestly like can't even begin to tell you how much we appreciate it. We are just so obsessed with this book. We just can't wait. We just can't wait for more.
Yeah,
And
I'm
to
so
reread
obsessed
it.
with you, and you're probably sick of us on social media now tagging you in things, but we are honestly like your biggest fangirls right now. We cannot get enough of people talking about Metal Slinger. It makes us so happy to go on Instagram and TikTok and see people talking about this book, and we're like, yes, another person, like we've got another one.
No, I appreciate it so much. I cannot tell you. Y'all have made this so enjoyable for me. So thank y'all.
Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Because we friggin' did.
Yeah, and I think she gave us like a lot to look forward to in book 2 without telling us anything about book 2,
She
if that
also,
makes sense.
Like, I felt like gave us way more than I was expecting.
Yeah, well, she obviously confirmed and denied something, some of the, the theories that we had or things that we thought were
Yeah,
going.
like you saying that she was lying about fucking loving Akka.
She didn't confirm or deny. She said
She said
love
she wasn't-
interest in book 2.
No, she said that Jovi is not lying about her feelings towards Akka.
Oh, yeah, but she didn't say that Jovi will end up with Akka in book 2.
Yeah, but you said in our Metal Slinger episode that you thought she was fibbing about it, like she was putting it on, and I was like, no, there's no way. And about the not being not having sex before.
Yeah, okay, that one I got wrong, but
Because Akka and Jovi or Bryn at Endgame, that's why.
yeah, well, I just think Bryn Jovi is
Shot through the heart,
And you're to blame.
darling. You gave love
A bad name. Yeah, I think Bryn Jovi's a liar.
We should have told Rachel that we call her Bryn Jovi. I forgot about that. Anyway, so we hope you enjoyed that because we certainly did. Even if Rachel never speaks to us again, then that's okay. It was worth it.
Even if we get cancelled by Rachel.
Sorry, Rachel.
We're on the block list.
Yeah. Join us for next week's episode, which is ACOTAR crack ship theories. So we're going to be talking all our favourite theories about different ACOTAR relationships, all the like wild ones that people come up with on the internet, on TikTok, on Reddit. And I think like it's not just going to be an Asriel and Eris episode, but Sam has told me already that she is heavily prepared to do a big segment on Asriel and Eris. And
I
honestly,
just love them.
yeah, I mean, same. Like that is the hottest, without going too much into it, that is the hottest thing ever.
Yeah. And whoever, I don't have names off the top of my head, but whoever you are that have drawn the fan art for Asriel and
The one where
Eris.
he has Eris like tied up.
Honestly,
and-
thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, you've made all my dreams come true and I love you.
And I will never stop blushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what next week's episode is. Then the week after, we're doing our ACOTAR Secret Santa. So for both these next two episodes, you only need to have read ACOTAR. We're not going to be spoiling anything outside that, just ACOTAR, which we know most of you guys have. And that's coming out on Christmas Day.
It is very festive.
In the Nadolig Llawen.
Ho ho ho's.
And then our January 1st episode, Happy New Year 2025, is going to be our best reads of 2024.
Yes.
Which will be spoiler free.
Yes, but
So-
spoiler, it's Metal Slinger.
So if you only wanted to know what number one was, we'll put you out your misery now.
It's Metal
Metal
Slinger.
Slinger. But we're going to do top 5, right? Each, I think, is the plan.
Yeah.
So
Mine might be top 7, sorry,
that's okay. We
but
can do top 7.
I'm trying to get 5.
5's hard. We talked about this in the car on Friday, and we were struggling with 5.
Do you know what it is? Me personally, I've discovered so many books this year. Like this, I only read The Ever King and The Ever Queen this year.
Me too.
Oh, did you? Why did I think? No, it was last year you had your arcs for them.
No, beginning of the year. It was the beginning of
No.
the first 2 books I read in 2024 was The Ever King and The Ever Queen.
Oh, it's going to be tough. It
Yeah.
might be like my top 20.
It might be my entire Goodreads list of the year. Let's just do a full Goodreads
do you
recap.
want to hear the 60? I'm on 63 at the moment. Do you want to hear the 63 books I read this year?
Yeah, I'm on 50 something. Do you want to hear the
Yeah.
50 something I read this year? Yeah.
Yes, if you've got time for 110.
Anyway,
no, yeah, I
we
will.
digress.
Yeah, sorry.
And then after that, we're getting way ahead now, but we're doing The Ever King and The Ever Queen.
And then we're interviewing LJ Andrews, which makes me want to be sick in my mouth.
Anyway, are we done?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Bye.
My ankle is cooking.
Thanks so much for listening.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at a pod of Smut and Wingspan.
See you next week.
Bye.